278 AD. Empress is trying to quell this crisis among her. Loyal subjects are spontaneously combusting. What is going to happen? Luckily for her, she can call Detective Deez nuts to aid her in her impressing in China.
Impressing.
Hey,
that was very impressive of you.
Well, man. I mean, I would, Jared, I thank you for that. And
yeah.
I feel like the premise of this movie has an awful lot to do with a prankster getting away with setting people on fire, would you not?
Yeah, there's a lot of pranks. The movie's main themes, if we're going to get into it, it's called Detective Deez Nuts.
And the Fiery Ghost.
Rise of the Fiery Ghost. And 90% of the film is pranking.
Yes.
And tutorials on how to prank.
Yes.
Which you would agree.
I completely agree with that. Yes, absolutely.
No, okay. The actual movie we're here to see is called Detective D, Mystery of the Phantom Flame. It came out in 2010. Mm-hmm. What were your initial thoughts of this movie?
My initial thoughts were... It was a lot, because for some reason I had stopped watching it 5 minutes in like a year ago. I don't know why, because the film was actually pretty fun to watch. I'm not going to lie. It was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. I mean, it wasn't...
Dan's quote, it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun.
It wasn't my favorite movie by any means, but it was entertaining, and I could get through it,
yes.
You know? I don't know why I turned it off. I'm dumb.
For the type of film it is, like this Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, like people can fly around and do crazy shit. Usually I don't like that very much, but I liked some of the characters. I was into them. Being into those characters, I'm like, oh, this guy's cool. I was kind of like following them with all the crazy shit that was happening. So I was like, oh, okay. And I don't think they did a very good job of establishing that there's magic and stuff.
Oh, no, not
in
at
this
all.
Universe.
Because
they spend a lot of time saying they're not superstitious or they don't believe in magic, but yet it's everywhere.
Let's put this to bed right now.
Right.
About 15 minutes into the film, there's a talking deer that just takes you by surprise. Because
way to blow your load.
It doesn't say anything about this. It's just like, guess what? You got to deal with this shit now.
Yeah, I think that's why you turned off the film, Dan, when you first tried to watch it, because you didn't get to the talking deer yet.
Yeah, exactly.
Once you see the talking deer, you're like,
I'm on board.
Now I have to watch this film.
Yes, that's exactly what happened.
I'm on full tilt. I have an open-ended straight flush right now. So no, real thoughts on the film. I would say this film is okay. Mm-hmm. It was definitely a lot stronger at the beginning, where they were setting everything up to get to Detective D, and with Pei, the albino guy. I thought he was cool. I was really into all those characters. And then the more you get into the mystery, the more convoluted and fucking stupid it gets, and makes me not happy. Well, see, I just started getting sadder and sadder.
I took it as Detective Deez Nuts is an Asian version of Scooby-Doo.
Yes,
and I went with it on that aspect. It was a little bit too long of a movie.
Yeah.
But I enjoyed myself.
Well, I wanted him to be more like Sherlock Holmes. I thought it was supposed to be like that, because this is based off a series of books, and it's based off of a real person who was like an advisor to a lot of important people, I guess. And he didn't go on like crazy adventures and do kung fu, but he was like a very well-known, famous person who helped a lot of emperors in his time. I'm going to leave some dead air here because I want to
talk about what I was trying to make you talk about before.
Oh, the prankster stuff?
No, let's talk about what this plot is and how much we liked it. I'm like, but we want to talk about...
I want to try to do that from the very beginning. But yeah, you're right. We probably flopped it around. We flipped it. We actually, if you think about it, we pranked everyone. It's a big prank. Because we're going to talk about that pranking story. But then we pranked everybody into thinking we weren't going to.
So those notes that you were taking, you learned. You learned from the notes that you took from this guy. And you pranked me and the audience.
From the pranking king. Okay, we have to get into it. So I've told you there's a lot of weirdos at my school. Longtime listeners will know that the school I go to is full of gargoyles and aliens from the planet Xenon. This guy is no exception. I kind of feel bad for him. It's not like I go out of my way to... I never like try to make fun of anyone or give anybody a hard time. It's one of those people where he's so socially awkward you think, okay, he has to be a genius, because if he's not, he has nothing going for him. I don't know what's going on. So I don't even really know this kid's name too much, but he would come up to me and just like put his hand on my shoulder and just start speaking to you about something without you ever addressing him or acknowledging him or what's going on. And you'll be in the middle of something. He'll just start telling you about elephants for 30 minutes or about how he hates Max or just very bizarre. And he doesn't get on social cues. Like, if I came up to you and said, hey, Dan, I want to talk to you about Dark Souls because I like that game, and I felt that maybe you weren't interested in that, I'd be like, oh, okay, well, I'll talk to you later, or you'd fucking leave. You do something, like, you tell me the information, that's it, and you'd go. But this kid, because he just doesn't understand everything, just doesn't stop. And it's kind of sad and funny in a way, too, but I will stress this. I'm stressing this a lot. I'm not seeking this person out. He is coming to me and giving me this information. He's the prophet, and I am just a disciple, you know, and I just hear the word in the good book, which there is a book.
A disciple.
Yes.
He found you, and he's like,
and if you think this metaphor is not correct, you are wrong. There is a book, and I will talk about it.
Oh, I thought you meant Jesus and disciples, because
he is Jesus, basically.
Well, I know that.
Here's why this guy's a prankster king. Okay. Comes up to me, puts his hand on my shoulder. The first thing he says is, so I was the prankster king when I was in middle school. And I was like, huh? And he's like, yeah, I used to pull a lot of pranks. And I was like, okay, why are you and a lot of this stuff, as a grown man, I'm telling him, I would say to him, I'm like, why would you think that's something you would want to brag about? He's like, well, I don't prank anymore. I put away my pranking cape, but when I was younger, I was definitely the biggest prankster around. And a lot of his stories, I will say, are totally false. They all sound like bullshit, because he'll embellish on things and then change his story around. Like, things will just get convoluted and crazy, and he'll keep building on it over and over again. He's like, you'll see what I mean. They just do not sound believable at all to begin with, which is even weirder. Like, why is he even telling me these made-up stories about his life? So he's like, yeah, we used to pull these pranks. One of the pranks was called the Alamo. He's like, do you want to know what that is? And I'm like, yeah, I guess. I mean, you're not going to let me escape. You're about a foot away from me, and like, I'm sitting down, you're standing over me. It's not like I can go anywhere unless I get up and leave. So he's like, oh, well, we get a bunch of stink bombs and we put them in the gym, and that's called the Alamo because it stays there for 4 days and 4 nights or something. I'm like, okay. Because I'm like, because the Alamo's stinky? And then he starts telling me how he would do whoopee cushions. He'd fill them with super glue. Wait. Yeah.
Whenever you were prefacing this, like, you told me during the week, remind me to tell you about the story about the Prankster King. Yes. I was envisioning, like, some guy who would actually, he's still pranking now. I had no idea that, like, we're going to be talking about, like,
oh no, he's retired prankster.
Whoopee cushion and stink bong pranks.
Yes, no, he's retired now, but in my mind, I like to envision him like there's a movie of his life, you know, say. He'd be in a cabin chopping woods in the mountains, like just chopping wood, and FBI agents would come and approach him and say, Pranking King, we need you. The president's in danger. You gotta prank him out of this situation. So, he's telling me about these pranks. I'm literally writing them down in front of him because I'm like, I gotta tell Dan this shit. This is ridiculous. So then he tells me about the devil's prank.
Oh, this sounds fun.
And I'm like, oh, the devil's prank. Let's hear about that. And he's like, this prank is the worst prank you can do to anyone. Oh. He's like, I've only done it one time, and I had to retire it after I did it because it was so severe.
Dude, no lie.
Yeah.
I really want to know what this is.
Are you on the edge of your seat? Are you ready to learn about the devil's prank?
Ready.
I think this is the big question that America wants to know right now. Like, no one cares about the elections or anything else. It's, what is the devil's prank?
Yeah.
Before I get into it, let me tell you, he has a manifesto. I am calling it a manifesto of all the pranks he's done, and he has rated them on a category of 1 to 20. I don't know why it's 1 to 20.
Oh my God.
I'm like, why not 1 to 10? He's like, because they're too severe. Some of them just are so bad, I have to go beyond 10. And I'm like, okay. And he rated on a scale from 1 to 20.
The devil's prank.
As a 21.
What? Yeah. Oh God!
I almost asked him to send me the PDF of all the pranks.
Dude, I'm going already. I'm like, you need to confront this kid for me. Say, I want you to publish this, and my friend is really interested in what you're doing here.
I told him that I was going to tell you all this stuff, and he actually asked me a little later, like a few days later, he's like, hey, did you tell your friend about the pranks? I'm like, no, I haven't talked to him yet.
Whenever he asks you again, or you approach him like he approached you.
No, because then we'll start a correspondence, dude, and then it'll never end.
If I don't get this PDF Podcast over.
Podcast over. I know. I should have did it for the podcast.
Oh, you were gonna.
But there is a manifesto out there of all that stuff.
Well, I'm gonna read it.
I will
day.
also preface that he said after he did this prank that teachers, when they would say, "Oh, we're gonna do a pop quiz today," he said all he had to do was fold his arms and stare at the teacher, and the teacher knew that no pop quizzes. They would stop the pop quiz and say it doesn't exist. See how much bullshit this is? And he said he was feared and respected by everyone in his middle school.
Dude, I believe that.
And he had power over teachers, students, everyone because of how high level his prankings were. And he would organize people,
Jared.
Have secret meetings during detention. Do you believe? Are you a believer?
Listen to me. I don't know about you. I do know about you. I think you're patronizing
This is real life.
I think you're patronizing him because I don't know of a more truthful, credible word than somebody who remembers middle school fondly.
And tells grown adults about it randomly.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. Segue. Those people are the first in heaven.
All right, here we got who's first in this? Oh, Prankster King. All right, Prankster King, come on in. You've been a very good boy.
So please tell me about the devil.
Oh, well, I've teased it long enough.
Yeah.
Let's get into it. Phase 1 of the prank.
Oh, man, I'm throbbing.
Whoopee cushion full of super glue.
Whoa.
The super glue activates when you sit on it, so it's sealed inside of the whoopee cushion. So it doesn't get hard in there. He doesn't fill it with super glue. So once he sits down, the super glue explodes, gets on the pants and on him. So the whoopee cushion and his pants and whatever he's sitting on is all stuck together.
Mm-hmm.
Phase 2. For some reason, there's a second whoopee cushion.
Dude!
It's an animatronic whoopee cushion.
I've never heard of using 2 whoopee cushions.
There's more. That's why it's so nonsense.
Everybody only had one. That's all you need.
The other one is controlled by remotes or something.
God. Okay.
To go off at your leisure. The third phase of the prank.
Oh, Jesus.
This is where it gets dark and disturbing. And
I'm waiting for this. This is why the devil's coming out, right?
He writes in something that would look like blood on the desk of the student, or the teacher, I mean, revenge. Here's the next part. Dan, that is the correct response. He is mouth agape in shock. There is 2 knives. That's right. Knives. The first knife is fake. It is a cardboard knife. The second knife is a real knife. Both of them are in the desk. He plants them in the desk. So the joke is, he sits down, hits the whoopee cushion, sees the revenge symbol on the 2 knives. They, presumably, after hitting the whoopee cushion, would grab the first knife. Oh, it's a fake. So they think the second knife is a fake. They grab that knife. That's a real knife.
Uh-huh. And what do they do with said knives?
Be thoroughly pranked. I mean, what else would you do besides be horrifyingly pranked to the point of having a panic attack and thinking that your students want to kill you? Here's the best part.
Oh, there's more.
Because I was starting to explain to him, I'm like, well, wouldn't the teacher, when he walks in, see the desk and see revenge already written down and not sit in his chair because he already sees the knives and the blood on the desk?
That's a good question. I'm pretty sure he has a good answer.
He has an excellent answer.
You do not ask questions of the Prankster King.
Oh.
Otherwise...
The Prankster King has all the bases covered. You see, teachers are on their feet a lot, so they get tired. So they have to sit down. So logically, the teacher would sit down before they see the desk. And that second part I just said, the logically thing, that was me, just reading into the good word of the Prankster King. That's literally all he said was, teachers get tired, so they sit down. Let me continue. The prank's not done.
Oh my god.
The prank's not done, guys. The prank continues.
Holy shit. Okay.
So that happens. You think, oh, prank's over. I gotta call 911. Like, what do? You call the police. This is insane. You're getting threatened on your own life. So they go outside. Already this has happened without the teacher's knowledge. They have egged and thrown toilet paper on his car. Then later on, when the Prankster King revises the story, because he'll recall things later. It's, also this happened, because it's very true, and he recalls them later on, is that his friend slit that person's tires. The tires were slit on that guy's car, so they've basically destroyed his car and cost him hundreds and hundreds of dollars, probably thousands in damage. When the police investigation for this prank happened, he said the entire class was in on it, maybe the school. I don't know how far, maybe teachers. Other teachers might have known. I don't know how far into the web the Prankster King has a stronghold on everyone. He got everyone not to say anything. He then even told me that he would write he used to write revenge on the chalkboard as a joke a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And the teacher knew that he would do this, but yet couldn't put together that he did the prank. Because that's how good he is. It's my... Dan has lost the ability to do anything. He is on his hands and knees worshiping the Prankster King right now.
I really, no lie, he is my new hero.
It's ridiculous, right? How amazing he is.
I think, sarcasm aside, I
Yeah.
think that you and I are on completely different wavelengths.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not going to lie. It would probably be very annoying to have somebody come up to me.
Oh, it's terrible.
Yeah, it's probably
Talking to
awful,
this kid
but
is unbearable.
the amount
Of pranks.
the amount of pranks that are happening right now, this is amazing, and I want to know more. I really, really do.
Here we go. We might make this its own podcast.
I'm a little bit upset that the devil prank did not have anything to do with a
with
pentagram
the devil.
being drawn on the car. I feel like that would have,
Well,
tied the bow really good. But what do I know? I'm a disciple. I'm
Yeah.
a follower. I'm not the
You're a
king.
peon
But
in the game of pranking.
what I do
life.
find really interesting is the word revenge implies that something like
going to
an
kill you.
indiscretion from the teacher
There's
has happened
more.
in the past. Not
Yes.
necessarily a pop quiz, because the teacher would not assign pop quizzes after. So what
No,
did the
someone has
teacher
gravely
do?
offended him.
What did the teacher do beforehand that
Not
merited
enjoying pranks.
this magnitude?
See, that kind of information,
a 21 on the fucking prankster scale.
if you can believe it, interrupting the class, I think is what he told me.
Oh,
Interrupting the class too much, which is, admittedly a weakness of the Prankster King. He definitely likes to interrupt the class a lot. So, now we move on to the good pranks. These are pranks that he does to people that he likes.
oh.
He also threatened to do a prank to the people at the school, but said he kept going back and forth between, maybe I'll do the devil's prank. He's like, but no, I'd never do that. He's like, but I would prank you. So, good pranks very quickly. Water in a flower, like what clowns do. Then he has a motorized bumblebee that he controls from a flower that comes out of the bumblebee and flies and attacks the teacher. These are so-called good pranks for people you like. All totally true and not fake. He also told me about his shed where he keeps all his pranking stuff.
Mhm.
So he has a lot of stink bombs and where he keeps his knives.
How old is this guy?
And his pranking stuff. He probably a little younger than me,
Okay.
a few years. I'd say early 20s. So I was very scared. I thought about telling someone about it. But apparently all the instructors know how crazy he is. And that day they sent him home. They're like, leave. You don't do any schoolwork. All you do is bother people all the time with your nonsense. So he stormed out of the school that day.
Oh, man.
Hopefully we can all appreciate the power and the love and the majesty of the Prankster King and think about all the good things he's done. Not the bad. Not the knives. Don't think about the knives. The knives are the scariest part.
That's what I'm thinking about.
When he was
And
telling you
I'm
about
gonna
the
tell you one
knives
thing.
and the shed.
I'm going to go, after recording, I'm going to go sacrifice a living being
goat?
to the
Yeah.
Prankster King.
So yeah, that's all real. That happened to me.
No, I'm dead
and-
serious. This is amazing, and I really want to read everything that he's written. Not because I want to be a follower, but because this individual is insane, and I want to read an insane person's memoirs of middle school.
Let's completely shift gears from the Prankster King. Praise be to Prankster King.
Oh my god. I'm...
Let's talk about Detective D. I will go into it. I will say the costumes in this movie are insane. They're pretty fucking elaborate. A lot of them made me laugh,
need to
but I
give me,
like them for how ridiculous they are. What's that?
Give me 30 seconds here. I can't just... I need to shift. That was magnificent. There's no other word to describe that. Magnificent is the word I choose to describe what just happened. I think we can go. Let's go on to Detective Deez nuts. All right.
These nuts! So, let's switch gears. I know that was really fun, but let's not have any more fun.
Yeah, please. I don't
Detective
think I
D.
can anymore.
Following up with the initial thoughts, I'd say the directing was pretty good. The costume design is fantastic. A lot of the CG wasn't as distracting as I thought it would be. Overall, it was all right, but I will say my enjoyment of it, especially in the last hour, dipped tremendously. While you were describing this movie for me, Dan, I will be stopping you to go through some of this huge list I have of what the fuck is going on. Why is this happening?
Okay.
I have a Word document ready to go. So let's get into the movie. I'm excited.
So we open to a tall lady, an 86-meter tall lady. Oh, and she is a statue of...
It's fucking terrible. Continue.
There's an architect who's building this gigantic statue of the Empress, and it's... He's like Master Jia, whatever. He's showing around this Roman emperor dude, saying, oh, this is what we can do for you. This is big symbol of our military and the Empress's might. Yes.
Yeah. Oh, so let me stop you there. So first I want to say that the Roman guy looks ridiculous.
Yes, he does, completely.
His hair is insane. We have to get a picture of him. I told you earlier in a text that I think he looks like Jake Gyllenhaal. Yes. So I think that's 100% correct, and it's good to see him still working. I mean, I will preface this beforehand. The last emperor, I guess I should say, was a man, and he died of liver disease, they say. So now this is the first woman to ever come into power, named Empress Wu.
Yes.
And she is going to have her coronation very soon, and they've erected, they call it a Buddha, but I did think it was supposed to look like her. So it's like a Buddha and her.
I feel like maybe if we go dialect-wise, just the idea of a Buddha becoming a statue because of the time period, because there were statues of Buddhas everywhere. Like, that's a thing. So maybe they started calling statues Buddhas interchangeably.
Okay.
I don't know.
So I'm just going to go with Giant Buddha, even though I do think it looks like
it's definitely supposed to be her.
Okay. So, they're, like you said, they're doing the inspection, and the foreman is acting a little weird.
Yes.
Another character who's like a hook, he has a hook for a hand, you don't really know this yet, but goes up to him and he's like, hey, when you were doing the inspection earlier, you moved some of the talismans that are on the Buddha inside of it.
And bring me Peter Pan!
Yeah, and bring me Peter Pan. Don't try and stop me, Smee. I'm gonna move the talisman, Smee. So he's worried about that, and he says, yeah, just go put him back. No big deal. And then they take the Italian guy, the guy they're showing off everything to the very top, and the foreman, as soon as he gets outside in the light, when they're looking at these giant eyes of the Buddha, bursts into flames. Yes. And it's a pretty cool scene, because you're like, what the fuck is happening?
Yeah, I think whenever I first started watching this movie, that's the point right there. That is the point where it's like, if I had seen that whenever I first started watching this movie, I wouldn't turn this shit off, because I'm like, okay, there's fire now. Awesome.
Yeah. And the whole investigation, like whenever they're doing the investigating and trying to learn the clues and stuff, I was having a lot of fun. I just didn't like it when there was leaps in logic or things that the audience couldn't figure out for themselves. They would just make up something like, oh, it's this, but there's no way for you to figure that out. So they start with the investigation, and there's like this chubby-looking guy. His name is like Zui or Zoo, and he's looking through the burnt carcass, and he's like, there's a lot of phosphorus. What's going on? Somebody poisoned him with phosphorus. And then out comes Pei. This is the first part of the movie where I'm like, this was out of place. He's like 2 stories up, and he goes, hold it right there!
Was this the albino guy?
Jumps down. Yes, the albino guy. He jumps down 2 stories very elegantly, and it's like, I guess people have superpowers.
Yeah, you float.
Because that seemed normal. And he says, it looks like he burned from the inside out. And he couldn't have eaten phosphorus because he would have smelled it, and blah-de-blah, so it must be something else. Then he notices a shifty character in the audience, who's the Hook Man, and he starts giving this Hook guy real shit.
Yeah.
Like, they kind of set up Pei to be a villain because of how mean he's treating this dude.
Absolutely. And then at one point, I guess Pei finds out that he has a hook for a hand, and he takes the hook and literally throws the prop right at a horse's face, and it hits the fucking horse. I'm like, that was uncalled for.
It smacks the fucking horse right in the face.
For one, that was completely uncalled for. For two, why would you do that? I don't understand.
That horse is like, what the fuck, bro? What the fuck, man? I'm just chilling here. And then they abuse horses a little bit later, too. Because Zui, or Zoo, grabs that same one-armed guy and throws him against those 2 horses. And, like, almost knocks the horses down when he's interrogating him. So they're beating up that dude. He's like, why do you only have one hand? So his response is that there's some kind of superstition with the talismans, and it's the talismans that burnt that one man up because he removed them. And he also says that he was with Detective D about 6 or 7 years ago, and he was working under him. We haven't met D yet. I guess they got tried for treason? So I looked this up, and apparently the real Detective D did get tried for treason because of just people didn't like him. They just accused him of treason and went to trial and everything like that. But I don't think he ever went to jail. I think he like got out of it or escaped or something. But here's the weird thing. Why would the Emperor pardon him and then assign him as the vice foreman for the biggest project in the city? and only just cut his hand off. Like, why would they ever pardon you for treason? It's fucking treason. Yeah, so after they interrogate Hook, and he says it's the superstition of moving the talismans,
he
blamed
blamed Peter Pan, naturally, yes.
Yes, yeah. And he's like, Peter! And he grabs the 2 talismans and rips them off the wall, and everyone freaks out. They're like, oh, shit. And he's like, oh, enough of this nonsense. They're like, we're going to go talk to the Empress and tell her what's going on. So Pei and Zhu or whatever, they jump on their horses and they start riding off to go talk to the Empress about the murder. While they're going, Zhu explodes too into flames and dies, presumably because he touched the talisman. So now we cut to the Queen.
Yes.
And the Queen
Which, by
is
the way,
with her
Empress
loyal
headdress
subordinate.
always on point.
Oh my god.
Always.
Every scene.
Every
that
single
one scene where
different headdress, every single scene, better than the next.
She had like a golden dragon helmet that was so intricate and insane just to like greet somebody outside of the gates to talk to Pei about the investigation.
Yes. And what does the Empress
So she learns
do?
about the investigation.
Yeah, she's like,
what?
Holy shit. People are bursting into flames twice in a day. This is odd. This is a crisis. Yeah. This is by no means a natural occurrence. Somebody is murdering my people, even though I'm completely superstitious, and the idea of removing amulets from a holy ground is completely plausible in my superstition.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
People are murdering people, which I guess that might be another plausible thing, but given the time period, not so much. I would go with superstition. Let's get the most insane detective out of prison so he can help us.
Well, here's the deal,
the titular
So,
Detective Deez Nuts.
Detective Deez Nuts, yes. I like how we're not even gonna try to not say Deez Nuts. That's just his name now.
It isn't. I don't know what you're talking about.
I don't know what you mean. That is his name. It is worth noting that the talismans that are in the Buddha statue were made by the chaplain, who's this mysterious red figure that works for Empress Wu. As an
is that
advisor,
what that meant?
Yes. And he's this mysterious figure, so it kind of feels like maybe the talisman's power from the chaplain is killing people because they're mishandling it. Because if you mishandle the talismans, it can cause great misfortune, like the whole thing falling down. So, Empress Wu talks to this girl named Ying, or Jing, and she is like her right-hand lady who like tests all her food, and she's very high-ranking, and they have like a mother-daughter kind of relationship, and she's very fond of the queen because I guess she saved her life. It's worth mentioning that her headdress at this time is a giant bowl. Before, literally...
Wait, why is that
during the day?
What?
Because it's like Princess Amidala levels of fucking insanity. Maybe even way beyond that. Maybe that's what they're trying to emulate in that movie, is like the Chinese headdresses of empresses and stuff. Then we get an announcement that the magic deer approaches.
So everybody's like, okay, shut the fuck up, the chaplain's coming. And then the camera zooms up this gigantic staircase, and this fucking CGI deer starts walking down, and you're like, okay, I like this. Then, in the most insane voice that I've ever heard in a movie, like, it's so unnatural what this voice sounds like. Okay, we need to get a clip. You're not going to be able to understand him, but the sound quality of his voice is so bizarre, and it's a fucking deer talking and addressing the loyal subjects of the Empress in the most insane way possible.
And it's not even like a classy way where they could just have the deer mind talking to them. They actually have the deer's mouth open and closed, and it's fucking hilarious.
近日天下紊乱，妖人趁本作闭关，侵扰黄土，逆天而行。
上请国师明示。
妖人逆行犯案，皆因太白星离宫8年，身陷囹圄，尚未归位。
囹圄。
Now, question.
Yeah.
Is this before or after we get Deez Nuts, from the jail?
Well, here's the deal. The deer is there, sent by the chaplain, by the way, as a conduit, to tell her, and it's very hard to understand this because I watched this scene twice, because she's very convoluted. She's like, Venus and Jupiter are angry, and you must do this thing to set the world in balance. But what this fucking asshole is trying to say is, if you release Detective D from jail and put him on the case, he will solve the mystery of the flame of people exploding. So the Empress is like, okay, I'll do that. So she sends Jing to the jail to go release Detective D. So now...
Yeah, so we find 2 blind guys in the jail. One is a very old guy, and the other is like a middle-aged guy. Both of them have very long hair and beards, like all creepy Asian people do.
And the lighting in this, like, they focus the lighting just on their eyes.
So you can see, like, the cloudy, blind eyeballs, and it's all creepy.
Yeah, it's kind of cool.
Which, okay, we find out that one of them actually is blind, the old guy, and the other one is actually Detective D's nuts in disguise. And he has these papers, like papyrus, over his eyeballs in order to make him look blind. I'm going to tell you right now, that would hurt, and that would not make your eyes look cloudy. That would make you look like you have paper in your fucking eyeballs.
I didn't even put together what those fake eye things were. I just thought he had white...
Well, he took them out, and I'm like, that's paper falling to the ground. How did that work?
Gotcha.
Because it looks exactly like the contact lenses that the other guy was wearing. Anyway, we don't know who these people are. Jing comes in, and then, for some reason, whenever Jing shows up to go get Detective D's nuts... Detective D's nuts is being attacked by ninjas.
Ninjas.
For some reason.
And also Detective D knew this would happen. He said he told the old man that on the day that he would escape, he would have to fight a great battle. And he trained the old man on how to fight for some reason in preparation for this day. So what they're doing there is they have this giant wheelbarrow full of letters to the Empress that they read and just destroy. Because I guess the Empress has no time to read all this shit. So they've come to find that the whole kingdom and everything is doing really well now that Empress Wu is taking care of things. So there's this giant pit of fire there that they're throwing all the letters into. They start fighting the ninjas. Here's some of the things about the special effects I did not like. They have chains on them, and Detective D uses the chain to like whip people, but the chain comes out in a straight line and like slaps people in the face. And so does
Jing's whip.
Yeah, Jing's whip does that too, and it looks so does not look good.
I thought it looked
like
fun.
Her whip comes out and it goes straight and just goes Kia! And I'm like thinking in my head, well, it's magic.
It was like a tongue, you know?
Yeah, basically. It was really silly. And there's a funny scene where Detective D is telling the old man where to punch because he's blind. He's like, turn a little bit to your right. And he turns and he dodges an attack. He's like, now hit him like a centimeter below. And he starts punching him. He's like, now do that again. And he just punches him right in the face.
So this scene, like this, okay, yeah, the fight, whatever. Fight happens. But this scene begs the question. Okay, Jing was sent to the prison to get D.
Yeah.
D prophesizes that he has to fight a great battle whenever he escapes prison.
Yes.
First time this question is going to be raised. Who the fuck are these ninjas? Because they don't explain it at all. And they attack more than once.
All we know is that they work for the murderer, but we don't know who they are at all.
We don't even know that in this scene. We just know that
he's being
attacked.
Know. They're just fucking ninjas that show up.
Then Jing leads D in the next scene, the next day. Jing leads D to have an audience with the Empress. And D sits down, and then they have this little chat. And the Empress is like, hey, are you ready to abandon your treasonous ways? And are you ready to serve me? And then D turns around, and he's like, I don't know. Are you ready to serve D's nuts?
And the queen was like, well, that's rude. I'm going to kill you now. You're dead. And he's like, all right.
My notes skip a lot. So that's that joke.
Well,
so
basically...
D's like, okay, yeah, whatever, I'll do it. Fuck you.
Yeah.
And then she's like, all right. So in the next scene, he's all shaven. He gets down to his regular shaven properties.
Easy there, Padre. Because you're going to skip something really great.
Oh, no, never mind. No. He shaves after this scene happens. The arrows and sex
fight.
scene.
Yes.
Yeah. So basically, he starts having sex with Jean, or tries to, because Jing is assigned to Detective D by the Empress to
Jing
care for him.
forces herself on him after they have just fought.
Yeah.
Because he was like making fun of her for being a shitty servant, because she's supposed to be serving him and helping him while he does the investigation, but she's really there to spy on him for the Empress.
And then then he fights her, and then she's like, well, the Empress wanted me to serve you. How can I serve these nuts today? And then, guess what, guys?
Dumb.
She's kind of like forcing herself onto him, and like, what the hell? Why aren't you going through with this? And then he like moves, and then 3 arrows pierce the paper walls and almost killed them. I'm like, this is fun. Let's do more of this. I don't.
It was kind of a fun scene, and this movie is PG-13.
I'm saying, no, this was not fun because I don't understand why they're being attacked. Again, movie. Who the fuck are these ninjas?
That is confusing, and it is annoying that they don't figure out the ninjas. The aspect of the fun was when Detective D is fighting with the girl over like a silly squabble, you know, and she's trying to get him with the whip. And there's a fun scene where Detective D sprays water in her face.
Yeah.
And then she goes like, "Why you?" Almost like Three Stooges. Then he does it again. Like he has more water in his mouth and sprays her again. And then he like intentionally lets her put a knife to his throat and tells her to shave him because he knows this girl's not going to hurt her. But yes, there are, like Dan said, a bunch of arrows start flying in to try to hit them. And you're like, what the fuck is going on? So the next day, he's all shaven and looking good. He's got his giant condom hat on. Looks like a gnome hat. It's fucking ridiculous. We'll have to get a picture of it. This is ridiculous giant condom hat. And they go to the investigation hall with Pei, the albino man, and Jing is there. And they have her wait outside while they
go do guy stuff
Pei
inside.
and D, do bro stuff. So they want to have a secret bro conversation. And this is kind of funny because they had the coroner was reading the autopsy report, but they make him yell it, and they make him repeat it over and over again so no one can hear what they're saying. So they start talking about how they don't believe in superstition, and they don't think it's magic or anything. Even though that shit exists everywhere. There's fucking magic in the air. And then she's spying on them through the top of the roof. Pei is like, oh, she's spying on us, why don't we fuck with her? Did this scene make sense to you, where they pretended that Pei was a bad guy?
And then Pei gets pissed off, and he's like, well, I was pretending. He's like, well, I was pretending too.
Well, here's the deal. Why would they do that? Because what if she believed them and told the queen? Wouldn't they both be executed? Like, that would only be a detriment to what they're trying to do. Do you get what I mean? How fucking pointless that was?
Okay, now here's the question. What's worse, not believing in superstition or fucking with the investigation?
I mean, fucking with the investigation, that sounds like a prank, so I'd say let's go with that.
Not quite level 20 yet, but getting there. Let's go.
Yeah, they definitely pranked her. You know what? They definitely pranked her. It was a pretty low-level prank. I'd give it I'd say like a level 6, because they did have to do some acting. Then these fucking assholes, Detective D has some kind of epiphany that no one realized. He has some of the arrows that he had saved from when they got attacked, and he immediately figures out that there's poison in the arrows, which I don't know how he knows that. He puts it in some chicken blood. The chicken blood explodes. He's like,
oh yeah.
There's poison in the chicken blood. Makes you blow up. And they need to figure out how the poison was administered to the two guys, too. I kind of thought that the poison was on the talismans, but that would have made too much sense.
Anyway,
so
they gotta go underground because they know of a guy named Frogman or whatever.
No, his name is Dr. Donkey Wang.
Yes.
How do you not remember?
No,
Dr.
I know. No,
Donkey
I know exactly what his name is because that was the joke that I was talking about where it didn't register whenever I first heard it or when I first read it, and then like about 40 minutes left or 20 minutes left in the movie, I'm like, wait a minute. That guy's name is Donkey Wang.
Yeah. We have Detective D.
Deez Nuts and Donkey Wang.
And Donkey Wang.
And their adventures.
Yes. They're thrilling adventures. So they need to go to a place called the Phantom Bazaar. The reason they need to go there, they go back to the Buddha statue very briefly. We'll talk about this. And Hook is there. He's now the new foreman. He got promoted because the old guy died.
Mm-hmm.
And he's being a coy motherfucker and very distrustworthy. And you already, I suspected him like, this guy's definitely evil. Because he's supposed to be Detective D's really good friend. And if you think about it, Pei could have solved this case a million times over if D didn't get in the way every time Pei was about to fucking solve the case.
But it's not Pei, it's Detective D's nuts and the ghost fire.
That is true. So I'm just going to spoil this right away. Hook is the bad guy of this film.
Yes.
And he is setting everything into motion to fuck all the main characters over. And Pei is realizing this. He knew it from the beginning when he was torturing Pei. He knew that guy was the fucking bad guy.
Mm-hmm.
He knew he had already caught him, but everyone keeps telling him that's not the right person. So Hook tells them that there's a fire beetle that exists. It's supposed to be extinct, but in other countries it might still exist. He knows that somebody who specializes in very exotic magical things lives in the Phantom Town?
Realm.
Yeah, the Phantom Realm or whatever, which is this city underneath a city. It's like the black market, basically.
And it looks pretty badass.
Yeah, it is. It's pretty cool. And he's like, if you go there and talk to him, he might know more about it. And if you think about it, the whole reason he's sending them there is because he has traps and assassins that he's trying to kill all these people with. So it makes sense. But he's acting so shifty, and Pei is like, dude, we need to arrest this fucking Hook guy. He's up to no good. I don't fucking trust him. I want to torture his ass and find out what Yeah. And then D is like, no, he's my good friend, but he'd never betray me. And they kept setting this up over and over and over again that he's such a good friend. And it's like, oh, it's obvious. He's a bad guy. They go to the Phantom Place, which is fucking crazy because there's magic everywhere. And they're in the boat, and they see like that crazy dude with the 6 arms. He's playing the lute or whatever. That was cool. And then they get to Dr. Donkey Wang. Do you want to talk about this, Dan?
Okay, now I'm a little offended that you don't automatically think that I do want to talk about Donkey Wangs, but I guess I can go into it.
Well, his name wasn't Dr. Horse Penis, so I didn't know. Wasn't sure.
No, he's very, very not forthcoming. He's a total asshole. He's like, I'm not going to tell you shit. Leave me the fuck alone. I don't know why you came down here. And Detective D's like, I know you are keeping shit from me.
Here's money, yeah.
Here's some money. And he's like, no, that money's pretty cool, but no. He's like, okay, let me put the money a little bit closer to your face. See if that helps.
Uh-huh. And he's very scared to talk to them.
Yeah, he's like, oh, but they're going to kill me. Then all of a sudden, a giant bell falls from the sky.
Yeah, like, okay.
For no reason other than to kill Dr. Donkey Wang. And
no, he doesn't die.
No. That's what the bell was for. It fell right on his little hut. And Dr. Donkey Wang survived.
See, I thought it was to try to kill the investigators.
Or both.
They didn't really kill if they killed. Yeah, or both, yeah.
No. Because whenever you're being investigated, you don't try to kill the person investigating you. You try to kill the person that they're asking questions to. Mm-hmm, that's typical detective things. Going. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Donkey Wang gets away.
Oh, yeah, the log rocket. So, yeah, he runs away. Yes. And then the fucking chaplain, the gigantic red demon dude, the chaplain guy, comes out. And he's like, starts to fucking try to kill Donkey Wang.
Yeah.
With his
This guy is magic galore. He, like you were saying, he sends fucking logs from in the ground out of the water to attack him. Mm-hmm. He can split his arms and turn them into other people to have those attack.
No. Let's focus on that. So he splits his arms, they fall in the water, and then robots come out.
Yes, robot birds with chainsaw blades. And we're just supposed to be like, yeah, this is totally normal.
Wait a minute.
There's fucking robots in this movie.
I was going to say, let's enunciate that a little bit more. Robot birds, listeners, if you have not seen this movie.
And guess what? They never show up again. That's it. That's the only time we ever see something like that.
Because they're only part of the Phantom Realm.
I guess, dude. I don't know. But this dude's powers are unbelievable. And once we find out who the chaplain really is, or who that chaplain really was, he never uses those powers again. So they do a big fight scene with the chaplain. They're all three trying to fight him. They get split up. They kind of come together. No, I remember at one point,
Pei sees the ninjas, or Jing sees, I think both Pei and Jing see the ninjas.
Yeah.
And they go after them. And then Pei like throws his axe, and then he snaps all these wires. And then the ninjas run away, and then the birds fell down. So that told me that the robots were actually marionettes.
Whoa.
But how...
I didn't even put that together.
How the fuck do they operate with that if they're marionettes?
With such precision? Exactly. Like, they were like diving in the water like penguins.
Yeah, but there was a scene where all these wires get cut and then they run away.
Whoa.
I'm like, okay, yeah. So, magic, of course, yes. Jing is essentially the chaplain. She uses these...
Pins
to... Because so does Donkey Wang. Donkey Wang also does it. It's like a certain type of acupuncture that apparently alters your face. Hunter
fucking magic.
Killua's brother for Hunter does this.
Yeah, he does that. Absolutely. And people are totally fine with it. They're like, oh, transmogrification. That's totally a thing that exists. Let's all be okay with that. But I'm not superstitious. I know I keep laying that on thick. Like, this murder definitely is not magic. It's something else. It's just ridiculous how they say shit like that. There's like 6-armed dudes and like flying guys. Whatever. So that other person who's the impersonator, who's actually a bad guy, we will later call him Beardy, who is pretending to be Jing. When they fight Beardy again in his regular clothes, he has no more powers. He doesn't use any of those powers anymore. He can't fly around like an asshole. He can't do anything.
It's the cape.
So how we find out, like how Detective D finds out about this, is because of the transmogrification of the needles. When Jing was trying to have sex with him, he kind of like...
He tries to catch her.
He catches her to avoid the arrows. And she freaks out when he puts his hand behind her neck where the pressure points or whatever would be. And she's like, oh, don't touch there. So he immediately thinks, oh, she's trying to pretend to be another person. We just don't know who that is until later on. And it's really the chaplain, basically, we find out.
Yeah.
Oh, so Pei, basically, when he jumps into the woods, he finds out that the road leads to the chaplain's manor or sanctuary, I guess. And he's like, oh, maybe something's in there that's important. So then we cut to Deez Nuts. He's speaking with Dr. Wang Dong, Penis, And like we said before, it turns out he is actually another person who is Dr. Regular Man. And the reason
Dr.
he
Donkey
was...
Wang.
Yes. Before I was going to ask, like, why did he even do this in the first place? I thought it was like a plot convenience. But the reason he does this is because he had been experimenting with the firebugs for any kind of medical value for a foreign power who had hired him to do it.
Yes.
As far as I understand. He had failed and had realized that the bugs not only cannot cure anything, but are a very dangerous poison that, when ingested, will burn you from the inside out. So he tries to destroy all of the bugs and the serum, and is chased away by this foreign power who wants to kill him now because he didn't fulfill his duty. So that's why he goes into the Phantom Underground and pretends to be another person.
Jing goes back and reports to the Queen about everything that happened. And the Queen is playing chess, the Empress is playing chess, Empress Wu. So he flings the chessboard up in the air.
Yeah. She's pretty pissed.
Like, God damn it, I'm so mad at chess. Fuck chess.
Yeah, she's like, chess is
And I'm really
like,
mad at
not
Deez Nuts,
fun.
too. After Donkey Wang and Deez Nuts, saying those two out loud makes me laugh. After Donkey Wang and Deez Nuts have that little meeting, they go out, and the prince is in the town. And Prince is like, here, the old emperor told me to hold on to this.
Oh, yeah, it's his mace.
Yeah, this
the
amazing
mace.
mace.
Badass.
Yes. So basically, he bestows the mace again to Deez Nuts, and Deez Nuts is like, yes, this, and he accepts it with honor. It's like a big ritual and everything. Like, this mace is crucial to this character. And this mace, you spin a little doohickey on it, and then it starts whirring.
Vibrating. Mace, yeah.
And then you can put that mace onto any weapon, and then it finds its weak spot, and then you hit it right there, and it breaks the fucking weapon in half.
And when he breaks it, he says break out loud. When
it's
he
fucking amazing.
That shit is awesome. Like, if this was an anime, and that's how he fought, I'd be like, this is sick. I love this shit.
This basically is a Chinese anime. Yes.
He meets with the Queen and explains how the mace works.
Yes.
And apparently the mace was when he was an advisor to the last emperor before he got tried for treason. The emperor gave him that mace, so it's very sentimental to him. And he's like, whenever I am not doing the right thing or need to be put in my place, you use this mace to discipline me. And how he would do it is he'd hold the mace out and say, Emperor, we need to have an audience with the mace. And he would bow down to it, and he would tell him his very honest opinion. And it was supposed to be a way of him telling him what to do without the emperor being like, well, I'm going to kill you because you don't tell me what to do. So it's like a very classy way of him to say, hey, you know, whenever you're out of line, you're supposed to use this on me in case I do anything silly. So I really liked that. I was into that.
Yeah,
so
I like that too.
He tells the Queen all this, and the Queen is like, listen, I know you want to go to investigate the chaplain's manor. Don't do that.
Because when the chaplain's gone, or whenever I'm gone, the chaplain's going to be gone. So don't even worry about it. Whatever.
Yes. So she was like, the chaplain is going to be leaving anyways as soon as the coronation happens and I become empress. And he absolutely is not involved with this. And if you go there, it's like you're going to be betraying me because it's illegal to go there. And I'm going to have to kill you. And there's like a bunch of guards everywhere. Pei shows up, I guess, and kind of like stops it all to tell them that someone's been murdered.
Now,
so the Duke has been murdered.
Yes, the Duke has been murdered. So this is what I wanted to talk about.
Yeah.
This
cool
scene happens before what you just described.
Yeah.
Immediately after the Duke gives, not
the mace.
Duke, immediately after the Prince gives the mace to.
Yeah, I keep calling him the Duke too. Sorry.
Gives him to Deez Nuts. Like, there's a scene where he's up on the rooftop of his castle or whatever.
Up on the rooftop.
He's shooting the shit with all of his like high ranking officers.
Yeah.
And he's saying something. He's like, no. With Deez Nuts, you got to be smart like him. You got to win without fighting. You need, and then he points to his head. And then immediately after he points to his head, he gets shot right there with an arrow.
Right there!
And
it
made me
great.
laugh so hard.
Yeah, it was hilarious.
I had to pause the movie because I could not stop laughing. Because it was just so unexpected.
It was pretty fucking great. So the main bad guy assassinates him because he has a talisman that can control an army. And if you have this talisman, for some reason these fucking idiots in this army will listen to you if you have it. So he kills the Duke just so he can take control of his army for the next phase of his 8-year plan, which is fucking insane.
Yes.
So he's dead. Now we have it where Pei is investigating the former foreman's house who exploded. He goes to his house. He sees that it's all burnt up. He finds some very important papers that show the layout of the Buddha statue, and he finds something very disturbing that he needs to go tell the main character.
And Deez Nuts is where? Deez Nuts went directly against Empress Wu.
To the chaplain.
And he went to the chaplain's place. And the chaplain shows up, and he's not a deer. He's this crazy big red guy, but he's talking in the same voice as before. So he's like,
狄仁杰，你明知擅闯无极观是死罪，为什么还要自投罗网？
It's a deer in a red cloak, like, who has summoned me? I, the great chaplain.
anyway, the chaplain's like, hey, why are you here? I'm going to murder you if you don't explain yourself in 30 seconds, and it better be good. Otherwise, I'm going to murder you.
Yeah.
By the way, even if it is, I'm still going to fucking murder you. Why are you here? And then Dee's like, don't play games anymore, Jinger. I know it's you. And then she's like, oh, what are you talking about? He's like, whenever I wasn't there at the chaplain's address with the Empress, whenever you came and did the ventriloquism with the deer, you were there and you were talking for the deer, but I wasn't there. But I know that because I'm Detective D's nuts. And then let me tell you what, Jing gets so fucking mad that she takes her fucking acupuncture shits out.
Yes.
And then her face becomes Jing instead of the chaplain. And then she lets out a cry of anguish, like,
deer fight. Yeah.
And then
so before we show the deer
show
fight, because it was kind of interesting. It was very silly, but fun. So yes, you are totally right. Dee had no way of knowing that the talking deer was her unless he was there or someone told him off screen. He was not there. No one has spoken to him during the film about it. My other problem is, why would Jing even try to have sex with Dee? I mean, I guess the Empress ordered her to? That doesn't even make any sense, because he's already on their side anyways. The only thing I can think of is it's plot.
Here's my theory.
Just so we can have the scene where...
Are you ready for my theory? I'm going to give you a hint. You're not going to be ready for my theory, but here it comes anyway. So, the chaplain, or Jing, is not actually a person. Like, that ventriloquism thing, that's all bullshit. It's Jing is the dummy, and the deer... The deer is the real thing. So the deer wanted to have sex with Dee's nuts.
They want to taste the flesh of a human, so they can breed their super race of half deer, half human hybrids that can operate AK-47s, right?
So
because their hooves can't operate AK-47s. Yeah, so
but
they can.
The only way to do that is to have sex with a real man, and the only real men in this time period are either dead.
Well, he's the ultimate
nuts.
alpha male.
You got to pick one.
Yeah.
So you have to fuck a dead corpse, or you have to fuck these nuts.
Yeah.
Opposable thumbs are made for one reason only.
Yes, I agree. Next topic.
Circles.
Because I'm reading off of my my PDF here, by the way. Because this is some serious fucking shit we've got ourselves into. Before we get to the deer fight, we'll just say it was magnificent. Why would Jing set up this elaborate ruse to pretend to be the chaplain and then send the deer to release Detective D when she fucking hates Detective D? She doesn't want him in the investigation. She tries to stop him whenever she can. She tries to fight him and kill him earlier in the film. Why go through all this trouble when there's already a detective on the case who would have solved it immediately? Pi, the albino guy, he would have solved it immediately if... What was the point of Jing getting Dee out of jail? Why? Does that make sense to you? It goes against the whole plot of her character and everything. It makes no sense.
I think the reason why is so they can have that one aha moment in the Phantom Realm where Jing's like, "You're not me, so why are you dressed up like me?"
There's no reason for Dee to be in this movie, I'm saying. All right, tell me about the deer fight.
Well, he kills them all, and then he has an epic fight with the chaplain. He breaks her sword, and then the sword flies off, bounces off of something, and in order to protect
Is that what fucking happens?
He stands in the sword's way, and he gets
It looked like someone threw the sword at him. It's just like everything is on a string in this movie and it can only go straight and has no arc. That the fucking sword flies. It looks like it flew off screen. I didn't even see it bounce off anything. And then it just flies back into screen and then stabs him. It was ridiculous. I thought that was fucking dumb.
But he saved her. And then she's like, fuck, I hate this guy, but he saved me. Now I'm obligated to pick him up and carry him through this dense forest that I have never been through.
Full of traps.
So certainly... there will not be
certainly there'll be no trap no more there.
She's carrying a dead Detective D over her shoulder, bitching about it the entire time. And then she trips a wire, and the most insane thing that could possibly happens. Like the biggest spear I've ever seen in my life. Yes, a log goes through her body,
Yeah.
her torso. Doesn't take her with it. It's a clean cut. Goes straight through,
That
and
would
then
not
impales on the fucking tree behind her. No, she would get stuck
You're right.
on
I
the
didn't even
force,
think
and she
about
would
the
fly back
physics
with it.
behind it.
No,
Yeah,
this
yeah.
thing was like oiled up, ready to go through.
right, dude.
It's ready for some sick
It
penetration.
did.
I'll tell you what.
Ugh. And then she kind of like falls down and triggers
On
another
a, on a
one.
level, probably level 20. I'm not certain that it's as good as the
Well,
devil.
death would be pretty high up there. I mean, it's not up, at the devil's prank, which is more psychological.
Yeah.
It's in the high, I'd say it's 17, 18 range of pranking. Because it does cause death. So, she gets stabbed twice with these logs. She falls down, and then the ninjas show up. By this point, the ninjas have attacked Pei, and they've kidnapped
And
her.
we still don't know who
No,
they
we don't know who they are. Also, when they throw this metal net on Pei, so they catch him, and they're trying to go find the two injured people, Dee and Jing or whatever. But did someone save them? I didn't understand this either, because they just fly away and land somewhere else. It didn't make any sense to me. It's never fucking explained. I thought they just get saved by someone, and it's not going to explain it. I think what it's trying to imply is that Jing had enough power to grab them both and then jump away with her magic bullshit. But why was she using magic bullshit the whole time to transport Dee? It didn't make any fucking sense to me. It's like we wrote ourselves into a hole. Now they have to get away. It's so dumb. It was really shitty. They just flew up in the air and then land somewhere else.
You know what I think?
What?
I'm going to chalk it up with the power of Deez nuts.
So then Dee is 100% healed now. He drank a health potion, whatever. And Jing is like, take me to the queen. So he does. She has a heartfelt, heart-to-heart, blah, 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 with the queen. And she's like, have you ever loved anyone? She's like, I have. I love you. Kissy, kissy. And then she dies. Queen's very sad. Dee goes to investigate what's going on with Pei. When he opens the door, he triggers...
Pei is the trap.
Yes. He triggers a
Pei
saw-like
has
trap.
transcended prankhood.
Yeah, he has become a
He's
prank.
no longer a disciple. He has become a prank in and of himself.
When you give yourself to the prank, it's a very beautiful and glorious thing, and I have a lot of respect for Pei in this moment. Yeah. I really respect him. I also think this prank is pretty stupid because it's supposed to be pranking Detective Dee. It doesn't. Because what's the whole point of what the villain wants to do? He wants to kill everybody, right? He also wants to kill Detective Dee. He's not doing a very good job with this prank. I'll explain right now. Here we go. Opens the door. He triggers the prank. There are blankets on top of Pei, who is tied up to a pole outside. The sun is hitting him. He has the poison in him. The blankets are slowly revealing him, and now he's going to be burning to death from the inside out.
Yeah.
Why? Okay, first off, why doesn't Detective Dee grab something like a blanket or his shirt and cover him to save time? Because we know that works, because later on we'll find out that kind of shit can work. Why doesn't he do that? Secondly, why doesn't the villain Hook set up a trap that would actually kill Dee instead of just show his friend getting killed? Like, there's no point in this fucking prank.
Because Hook is all about that level 21.
I guess, I know he wants to try to get there, but contextually in the story, it's fucking stupid.
It is, but he's trying to mess with him psychologically. That's what it is.
That's fucking dumb. So, because this gives... This gives Pei enough time to explain to him where the note is that he needs to see, the blueprint. So, if he wanted to hide his master plans, he would have fucking killed Pei immediately and then searched his goddamn horse. Why would he not search his horse?
Jared, you complain about this shit, but without it, it wouldn't be the same thing. Villains have to be...
Have to be stupid? They could have wrote it better, is what I'm saying. The writing in this is not good for that stuff.
That's not the villain's fault. You can't say that's Hook's fault.
Yes, I can. I just did. So, what does he say to him? Do you remember what he says?
He says, look at these nuts.
No, he says something about his buckle. He's like...
Yeah, his belt
my
buckle.
belt buckle. And then...
My belt buckle hides these nuts.
My belt buckle. So, you think that's going to be like, oh, is this something we're supposed to understand? And it's just... He has a missing buckle and it goes to his horse, and under his horse's saddle is the note. So I think we're at the climax of the film, right?
We enter the 86-foot-tall lady.
Yes.
86-meter-tall lady.
Yes.
With these nuts.
Yes, it's still funny. Still hilarious. Everyone loves it. Everyone loves pranks in Deez nuts. Everyone loves it.
I'm the only one who enjoys it.
Well, tell us what happens, Dan, you piece of shit. Quit giggling.
I don't even know what happens. He confronts Hook.
Yeah.
And then... Hook's like, my master plan is...
It's fucking dumb.
My master plan is to flood the base of this statue with lava so that it will melt and fall over onto the Queen's coronation ceremony.
Like, Pinky and the Brain come up with better fucking schemes to take over the world than this fucking idiot.
And then Deez responds to this. He's like, oh, I got the upper hand on you. I'm going to destroy one of these little slides that is transporting the lava into it, so that it's going to upset the balance of lava because the lava's only going to be on one side rather than the other. Guess what? That's not how lava fucking works. I'm sorry.
Well, actually, Detective D says that it'll throw off the trajectory and it will definitely not hit the Queen if that happens. So.
Guess what? It fucking hits the Queen.
Well, there's something.
If the trajectory is affected at all, it's barely. It still does what it's supposed to do.
I will say this is a pretty high level prank, though, at least to 20. It's very high level. It's almost to. It's basically maxing out on the prank scale.
I can't.
So,
can we talk about... Okay, so yeah, there's this big, crazy fight that goes on, and then we get to see how badass his weapon is, because he uses it a lot in this fight.
He breaks that guy's hand. He breaks Beardy's hand with it, which is cool. And he beats the shit out of him.
Yeah. But Beardy gets the upper hand and dumps some fire beetles on Detective D, so D's nuts is infected with that poison dough.
Hook was set up to be a liar and a manipulator from the start, like I said. Pay had actually solved the case, but D was getting in the way because Hook was his friend, which I've already spoken about. Why would Hook intentionally give D information about the fire beetles when he really didn't need to? So he's trying to set up that the Chancellor was the bad guy to throw them off, but he didn't need to do that to begin with because they had no leads. Why would he even give him a lead that could remotely tie to him? So there's that. Why didn't they search the Buddha statue for the fire shit? Because it turns out the bugs are everywhere and the poison is everywhere in the fucking Buddha statue. Like, he has it hidden all over the place. They would have immediately found that. You know what I mean? Because they interrogated everyone that worked in the Buddha statue. Doesn't make sense. It's dumb. D explains that the foreman did drink the water, but Detective Zue did not. He had poison dripped on him in a flashback scene that never happened. So they show a scene where D is explaining how he solved the mystery of how the poison got set up, so that the foreman drank it. And then they say that Zue, or Zoo, whatever, never drank water. He did. He did drink that fucking water. If you go back and watch that fucking scene, he does. The scene where he's holding himself and the water drips down on him never fucking happens anywhere in that scene. Or it happens off screen. They're showing a flashback to a thing that was never in the fucking movie to begin with.
Well, same thing with the deer scene.
Yeah, it's fucking nonsense. That's why I don't... It's fucking dumb.
My thing is, I think D just had all these premonitions in jail.
Another reason why I think Hook is dumb. He has his 6-year plan to kill the Empress. He has all this manpower. He builds this giant fucking statue with the magma that pours into the base to make it fall in her coronation ceremony. All this planning for years to get his revenge on having his hand cut off and being treated like shit. And then another part of his plan that he hinged on was getting the prince to give him that symbol, and he just kills that fucker. And it turns out, too, that Hook says that he is the one who killed the original Emperor.
You're not understanding the magnitude of the word revenge here.
You're right.
Obviously, revenge is the key ingredient of a level 21 prank. This is the equivalent of writing revenge on a desk in blood.
With a fake knife and a real knife.
Giving a teacher 2 knives.
One cardboard and one real. Yes, we all know the scripture. We know it.
Yeah. But basically, Hook is trying to emulate that as best he can in his own original way. So of course it's going to be 6 years, and of course it's not supposed to make much sense.
Mm-hmm. So that's stupid. So I already talked about how Beardy doesn't have his powers anymore.
That's blasphemy.
I mean, forgiveness.
You ought to hand it to him for trying.
Yeah, it's a decent. No, I said it was a high level prank. What more do you want?
But you're like, it's stupid. You think you could do a better prank?
Yes. So let's read a little bit more of this. Why does D give Hook all of those chances to give up on his plans when he has figured this out by now that Hook has tried to kill him many, 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 many times? He literally has him on the ropes. He's about to smash his face in, and he doesn't kill him. And then he implores him 3 or 4 times to stop his evil ways. Like, dude...
Because they have a history
together. I know
together.
they do, but he's tried to kill you 1,000,000 times throughout the film. Don't you fucking realize he's not going to change his ways? Like, he's... Also, D gets poisoned, yet is constantly in sunlight.
No, they make a conscious effort to make him hidden by the horse's shadows.
There's light everywhere.
That's what that was about.
Touching him. Yes, that is true.
That was still what it was about.
And that was kind of cool when he was hiding on the side of the horse like Solid Snake. That was pretty neat. Here's my other problem, too. When he holds his hand in the light and it starts burning his hand, it's burning on the outside of his hand, not the inside. Because once sunlight touches you, it's supposed to burn your blood from the inside out. But if you're the main character, apparently, it only burns you on the outside of your skin and then magically goes away later if you want it to. And so do your wounds. They just heal. He was definitely in the light. It was supposed to be like, oh, he's in the shade. There's fucking sun everywhere. The whole place is lit
You're
up.
missing... I think you're missing a key point that you actually brought up before.
What?
You see, Dee does not believe in superstition.
Okay.
So, by your logic, the scientific measures that are actually happening are still superstition. So he's not affected by anything that he doesn't believe in.
He's not affected by anything he doesn't believe in?
As a matter of fact, him seeing his hand burn on the outside like that, that was in his head. He's like, you know what? If I actually did believe in this shit, this is what would be happening.
Mm-hmm. You know what? Fuck you. That's about it for my complaining notes. Basically, the Buddha statue falls, the face almost kills the queen, Detective D splashes Hook with the fire goo, he gets in the sun, burns up, because he's not the main character. Basically, he tells the queen that there's an army gonna invade, and she stops that, and then they do this whole ceremony where he's like, can I talk to you with the mace now? Because she wouldn't do it before. She does it, and he basically says, you've committed atrocities against clansmen and officials under false pretenses of magic, is exactly what they say.
But I understand the public's need for authority.
Yes.
Which was fucking... That is my favorite line of the movie.
And under her rule, right now, everything's going really well and it's not corrupt. But she did fucking just straight up kill people that were in her way.
Yeah.
Under the false pretense of magic, which, by the way, all those, like, fucking Chancellor is made of magic. So, like, she is using magic. She's a fucking hypocrite. But yeah, I kind of like that. And then they start talking about how... So she comes to rule, and it's very peaceful and good for 15 years. And then after that, she hands over the leadership to someone in... It's called the Tang Klansmen. Mm-hmm. And she lets them secede because that was the promise that she made to Dee.
Right.
And then apparently there was never another female empress. That was kind of interesting. The only thing I didn't like about it is that we didn't know anything about the Klansmen. They weren't really mentioned. So it's like that impact didn't really affect me too much. And I had to rewatch that scene again to even make sense of it. Because I'm like, what promise are they talking about? Like, what the fuck are they even... What do they mean?
It was reaching for something, but then also whenever you look at the sequel to this movie, it's not even a sequel, it's a prequel. Yes. So we're never going to know about that.
And I think maybe if you're Chinese, this would make more sense. I know it's all fantasy and exaggerations of
but
these
some
tales.
of it is still
some
written.
Of it
it's
is
historical fiction.
Real historical fiction, that's true. So, what are your final thoughts, Dan? What do you think?
I think that I want to see more adventures of Deez Nuts and Donkey Wang, and I really want them to go in pursuits of... I feel like if the Chancellor Deer was actually the real bad guy, it would have made the film a lot better.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. If they would have dressed that deer in a red dress, that would have been more than
Also, I feel like this film is a good diving board into the Prankster Manifesto, which I can't wait to read.
Yes, yeah. We're going to be issuing copies of it soon.
Yeah, I feel like there's a lot of parallels between that book and this movie.
Yeah, the good book.
You know what I mean?
Yes, yeah, absolutely. I did love how whenever I tried to explain why this movie was shit, you, Dan, would immediately counteract with utter nonsense. And I started...
the only way
I started to become frustrated with it, but then I just started to accept it because that's this film too. It's just like, you have to accept its nonsense.
Yes, exactly. That's what I'm saying. The only way to counteract nonsense is with more nonsense. Awful nonsense, yes. Right. That's how you explain nonsense.
And I was a fool.
I'm sorry I got on your nerves.
Did good. I'm telling you, I think you pulled the ultimate prank on me today.
Not yet. Tell you what. You want to play a game?
Yeah, let's play a game. Oh my god.
Okay. You may pick a number 1 through 9.
1 through 9. Well, going through my thought process, I feel like 8 is my special number, but I feel like maybe you know that. It's a trick.
I know, it's completely... every list that I put, or all my lists, I put in a randomizer, so the way that they're numbered is completely random.
But I feel like you're in my head pranking me right now, so I'm weary of picking that. But you know what? I've already said it. I'm just going to stick with it. I'm going to say number 8.
Horror is the category
wow.
that you chose.
Way to nail my wheelhouse.
I know, right?
Getting off
Except,
easy.
I can guarantee you it's not going to be. So, some of the categories that you missed were artsy shit only Dan would pick, masochism because we hate ourselves.
No.
These are films like Sharknado 3,
Oh,
Human
fuck
Centipede 3.
you.
Yeah. Old shit, which is pre-1980. Shit I've already seen that you may or may have already seen, just for kids.
Just for kids!
90s. And then sequels.
Dude, I wanted to
Only
pick just for
sequels.
kids.
We'll pick it soon, don't worry.
Just for-
So you picked horror.
Yeah.
Let me get my horror list up.
You
and
have
randomize
selected.
that.
It's like movie phone.
Okay, you have 5 movies to pick from.
Number 1.
You have selected one of the movies that probably is going to be good. I've heard a lot about it.
Okay.
I've never seen it. It's called Tucker and Dale versus Evil.
Tucker and Dale versus Evil.
Now, I already know the plot of this movie, so I'm not going to spoil it for you, but it basically has to do with rednecks getting involved in a typical slasher film of like a bunch of teens go to camp and shit like that.
Okay, so it might be a play on that, kind of like Cabin in the Woods.
It's definitely
maybe.
a play on it, and I'm very excited to watch. I feel like it's going to be a comedic Cabin in the Woods. Like a very smart satire, but having to do with horror movies.
All right, well, this has been pretty good shit. Dan?
This has been probably one of my favorite episodes.
Yeah, I mean...
just going through it.
Absolutely. I hope
Like actually recording it.
buddy.
So, if you could find us on Twitter at oldboys_podcast.
Go to Comcast, click the link, scroll down, type in google.gov. Go to that link. Ask, what is pranks?
Please find us on Twitter as oldboys_podcast. You can find us on Instagram at oldboypodcast. You can email us at oldboyspodcast@gmail.com. Go rate us on iTunes. We have 6 reviews now, all 5 stars. It's very good. I want to see
Cool.
more. And, fuck Stitcher because I can't find the reviews.
Stitcher confuses me. It's out there. Who cares?
Oh, we're on SoundCloud too.
Yeah, I love SoundCloud, though. They're great. Excellent job. I hope this was something, guys. I'm going to let Dan have the last word. Dan?
I really, really want to read the Prankster Manifesto.
Well, that's been Dan's last word. Hope you guys enjoyed the show. All right. Goodbye forever. Yeah, with the D virus, yeah.
The D virus. Administered solely by Deez nuts.
Yeah.
Yo, girl, want that D
Yo,
virus?
girl, can I get your number? Can I have it? So here's some stuff I wrote down about how
I'm
fucking
gonna
stupid
start calling
this was.
STDs D viruses.
Oh, God. Is that what you're going to tell your doctor next
STD
time you see him
virus.
do? My
Yeah, I got a D
D
virus.
nuts, real accurate.
My D's nuts, they look gray and lumpy. What's going
You
on?
want to touch them? You a doctor. You supposed to. I pay you. My tax dollars pay you to touch my nuts. Boy. Girl, can I get your number? Can I have it? Thank you.
I was most certainly on the fence, and then the talking deer came on screen, and I'm like, yes,
Yeah,
you're speaking my language. See, it goes incest, then talking deers. Dude, I can't wait till Incest 2 Talking Deers comes out.
What are you talking about?
Things that make me watch movies.
Oh, it's Dan's favorite things. Yes, that's on his dating profile on Tinder. It says interests, incest, deers that talk. Oh, necrophilia. I forgot. Don't forget that, folks.
Yeah, bestiality.